All right, we are live. This is kind of the first time I'm doing this, and Tiff actually prompted me to do this, so I'm blaming her and thanking her at the same time. And Tiff and I have known each other for probably about 5 years through the Arcanum, I think, through the original cohort with Karen, right? I think.
I wasn't in Karen's cohort. I was in Ron Clifford's cohort, but
all right.
yeah, but I knew you guys too. So,
okay,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
And can you just introduce yourself a little bit and tell us what you do and what prompted this, kind of?
No worries. Hey everyone. So I'm Tiffany from Tiffany G Studios. I do photography and video work, but I also do content marketing for businesses. So that's where my paid work comes from. And then from the stuff that I love to do is landscape stuff. And then I do a bit of sort of more creating composites and more of that digital artistry and that kind of thing. But these days, most of the time I'm doing stuff for businesses. And I also help businesses to grow their audiences and that kind of thing as well. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell from Australia. And cool. And I'm going to be going to Chicago soon, which is going to be awesome.
And that's kind of what brought this up. So Tiff is going to be joining us in September on my See Chicago tour, and I'm so excited that you made that, be able to work it out. So that's kind of what we're going to talk about a little bit today.
Yeah, definitely. It's going to be my first time in Chicago, but I've heard so many good things about it. My parents went to Chicago when I was really young and came back raving about it. So I'm really excited to actually go see everything that I can get to see.
Right.
When I saw your thing come up, I was just like, yep, that's definitely where I've got to go.
Awesome.
Definitely going.
That's awesome. Yeah, you should be able to see. It should cover a pretty good, we should get some good highlights for you.
Yeah. Hey, Lauri, I might have to share a link to this or something in the event or that kind of thing, because it's kind of hard to see if people are on here with us and stuff like that. Yeah, right. Can you see? Do you have numbers? Can you see people or anything? Or
I haven't gone on Facebook to look. Let me just look really quick. Should be on my. Oh, there we are. It's on my photography page. So let me see if I can. Here
we go.
Yeah, somebody's asking, how do I go there? Oh, thank you. We're trying to figure it out. We're working on it. This is a new platform for me. I've never used it. So bear with us for 1 second.
Yeah. I'm just adding it into the event.
Okay. Thank you.
And this here.
Let me go then. I can grab it and
oops.
Sorry, guys. we worked out most of the bugs that we didn't know how exactly it worked at first this morning. So now, ooh, that's a crazy link. All right.
It is, but it's there, so people can go to the event
and I could, and then I can just go grab post it on my page as well.
Yeah. Oh, look, hey, here's a comment here in the public from James. Hey, I had trouble finding the live feed, didn't know where to go. Yeah, we're just sharing that around now, James. So.
And I just posted a link on my personal page. All right. Can we post the link in there? Is it going to be nutty? We'll try it. Didn't post. All right.
It didn't post?
Oh, there it went. Yep, there it went. That should help. Right. That should help, I think, too, hopefully.
Yeah.
And I'll keep an eye. I'll pop over and keep an eye on some of the comments on Facebook, too, just so we don't miss anybody somehow. All right. That should be good. Right. Yeah, there's people. I mean, It shows 6 people. So
Nice.
people are finding us.
Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. Hey guys. Just sharing it on my page, which is
Cool.
why you might hear the typing. But yeah.
All right. We're just getting ourselves out there for a minute, and we'll get into the kind of interviewee type part of this.
Alrighty.
I think we should be. I think we should be covered now, right?
Yes.
All right. It's all a learning process. This technology stuff.
Well, you're doing well.
And you know, us photographers like to be on the other side of the camera too. So that's the other part. All right, cool.
No worries.
All right. So did you want to go through questions, or do you want to?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. However you want to do it.
Yeah, that's fine. I know you had some questions that you sent me
I
earlier.
do. Yeah. We're totally prepared.
We are, sort of.
Yeah.
You know.
But yeah, if there's anybody out there, say hi in the comments. Let us know how, where you're joining us from. That kind of stuff. It'd be great to hear from you. So, and you're welcome to ask questions as well. Lauri already said that she would answer other people's questions, not just my ones. So yeah, feel free to drop your comments and your questions, and we'll get to them, I guess. Does that sound like a plan?
As long as they're within reason. I know some of these people, you know.
Why is the sky blue? Why is the sky blue? Okay. All right. So here's one to get us warmed up. So I know like it could be tempting for me to ask you things like, oh, you know, how did you get started with photography and stuff? But I figure a lot of people may know that. I thought I'd try and start with something a little bit different. And when did you know that photography was going to be your, like, one of your things? Like when did you know it was going to be like your passion or that kind of thing?
Well, I think I put my first camera when I was 10.
Wow.
And it was a little Instamatic film camera. And, you know, I had it. I used it a lot. I mean, even though it was film and I was 10, I didn't, you know, it's like I had money to go buy film and develop things. But my mom also had a camera most of the time. So we traveled every summer. We went somewhere different in the US. And, you know, so we had photos of all of that always. I started working when I was 16, and my very first real paycheck, I went out and bought an SLR film camera.
Yeah.
So, you know, because back then there weren't digital cameras yet. So that was my very first like major purchase from when I was working. And my second major purchase was a plane ticket. And that like totally sums up my being, you know, like I loved having the camera always, and then traveling to new places to take photos, you know, made it better. So when I was in high school, I took pictures for the yearbook and the newspaper, and I did the same thing in college for a little bit. And then after that, I still shot, you know, it still was something I did. It's almost something that, like Ron always says, do what you can't help but do. Well, taking photos is one of those things for me. So it's always kind of been part of my life, you know?
Yeah. So that first plane ticket, where was it to? Lake
Tahoe. I had relatives in Lake Tahoe, and we had been when I was a kid, and it's absolutely gorgeous there. And I went, I think I was 17 or 18, and stayed with relatives for a week and rented a car and drove around by myself and stopped everywhere and took pictures. In fact, I took 13 rolls of 36 exposure film in 7 days, which isn't crazy. But when I got home, there were, I think, 7 photos of my relatives. The rest was all Lake Tahoe and trees. And so I'm like, my mom was like, how come you don't have any pictures of your relatives? I'm like, have, because Lake Tahoe, like, is much, it's Lake Tahoe. Nothing personal against my relatives. But that's not what speaks to me. And that actually says a lot if I think about it, that I still don't take very many people photos. It's not what speaks to me. So yeah.
I'm very similar that way. Like, I'm trying to adjust and move into the people photos, but I'm definitely, more landscapes and more stuff around me than people around me.
Yep.
Hey, we've got a whole bunch of people over here saying hi and everything. So hi, Elizabeth and Heather and Rita, Justine. How you doing? Justine's from Australia, like me, which is awesome.
Speed that up.
And Barb. Cool. Thanks for joining us, guys.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm happy that we have people watching. Well, you kind of always wonder. It's like, well, we're just going to put it out there and see what happens. But you have to put it out there.
Yeah.
Otherwise, nothing happens.
Yeah. So depending on when you joined us, guys, you're welcome to write your own questions for Lauri down in the comments. Love to hear from you. So, Lauri, should we move on to my next question? Or
sure, I'm ready.
Yeah. So, what's something you wish you'd learned earlier in photography?
I actually thought about this for a while. When you asked me this morning, I wrote it down. And I actually write every morning. So this morning I used your questions to write. So I wrote out my, it helps remember. It helps me remember things. But I think that one of the things that I wish I had known or felt about photography was that it was actually a viable option for a career. I think I knew that it was, but I felt like I didn't have a chance, maybe, or I didn't pursue it in the right way, maybe, or maybe it's because like I did the thing for yearbook and the newspaper, but that wasn't really what spoke to me either. Again, with the people and events is kind of okay, and it's fun sometimes. And when you're in high school and college, it's fun, because you get to meet everybody. You're in the midst of all the action, But I didn't feel like that was something I really wanted to make a job of. I didn't want to make a career of shooting newspaper story pictures or, that kind of I guess documentary would be the right word, I don't think I felt like that was a career choice for me. And again, even then, I was shooting more artistic stuff. Things that I would enter, and I entered a few, contests here and there, and those are the sorts of things that would, I would place, I'd win first, second place, whatever. But what do you do with that? Like everybody else, probably, my dream was always to be a National Geographic photographer because I could shoot and travel. So that was always my big wish. And I probably never pursued it. Not probably, I never pursued it. I know I never pursued it. I never sent anything into National Geographic saying, hey, look at my stuff, Again, being a photographer was not something that, it's kind of true in any of the arts, it's like, well, that's not a real career. I think that's changed now. I think it's changed over the years. And maybe it was, where I was and I lived in a rural area and, that wasn't necessarily something that, again, to me, it just didn't seem possible or like an actual real choice to make for having a career. So that's kind of what I wish I would have known, is that I should have just stuck with it and just pushed and did what I do,
So when did you realize it was going to be a career for you? Because you've kind of been doing it as a career for the last number of years, isn't that right?
Well, I would say sort of. It's kind of been a part-time thing. I haven't really focused on it 100%. I've always had another job. And which was, the last job I had was 30 hours a week. Before that was 40. Before that, it was, whatever I worked. So I finally got fed up with the job that I had recently. And I decided that was it. And I decided that I'm done doing things I don't want to do, basically.
Awesome.
Life's too short. I know a lot of people struggle with that kind of a mindset because it's not the norm or it's not what you're supposed to do. Yeah. And I quit my job in December, the end of the year. And this is what I'm doing, and it's all on me, and whether I'm pushing it or not, it's all on me, and I am not, then it becomes I'm not doing enough, I should be doing more, which I should be, but I'm doing it at my own pace, and if I get to the point where we are struggling financially, then I'll figure out something else, maybe, or I'll promote myself more like I don't do,
Yeah. Have you found, though, that since you've been able to make it more of your focus and not necessarily like a 60-hour-a-week focus, but your main focus, things have sort of taken off a bit more or like more opportunities have come up? Have you found that?
Not totally. I think, maybe a little bit, like doing stuff like this. And I started 2 years ago writing for photofocus.com, which is a photography website.
I remember that.
That kind of helped push me a little bit too, because if you start, I was like, I'm not a writer, and they're like, well, if you write what you know, I'm like, okay, well, I'm not writing about technical stuff because that's not what I enjoy talking about. And I try to make things simple for myself, and I don't delve into the technical side of things. So, my stuff became more like inspiration or what to do if you're stuck or how to see things in a different way, which is like kind of my thing. So that kind of has helped as well, like push myself along into like, what else can I do with this? How else can I help people? Because I like to help people. If people are asking questions, I'm going to answer to my best ability, so it's a work in progress. It's a total work in progress. I have a ton of ideas, like things I want to do or things that I think might work. But I also have a problem with my own focusing. So I go off on like tangents, and then I work on this, and then I work on that, and this, and this, and I need to do this and this only, make this happen, and then move on. So that's also what I'm working on. That's a tough one for me, but
I'm very much the same with that whole something else, or I've got this idea. Just it makes it harder to get things done sometimes, but then that's when the creative ideas come too, when you get to follow down some of those roads as well.
Yes, so. Right. Yep. I was just gonna say, Elizabeth asked a question. I don't know, did you want to wait or do you want to do these?
No, I was just about to go right there. Yeah, we're on the same page.
All right. Elizabeth asked if I thought that I limited my career options because I was a woman in a man's field. And I for me, that's a no. I never ever felt that way. I'm not typical in the way I think about the men and women situation in the world. So that's a big no for me, because if I wanted to do it or I felt like I could do it, I was going to do it anyway. And again, that's not totally typical of a woman, especially, quite a few years ago. But that's me. So.
But that's awesome. Like that's more of what we're all trying to build and learn too.
Yes,
so
and that's another place where I feel like sometimes I can help women, because I don't want to go down that whole man versus woman rabbit hole of things, because I don't do that. But it's something that I can also. It's something I've always been able to help other people with too, because I started traveling when I was young. I mean, that trip to Tahoe, I was 17 or 18, and I went by myself. When I was older, and not really that much older, I went to Europe by myself. I went to countries by myself where I didn't speak the language. And some of my friends thought I was insane. how can you do that? You know, especially as a woman, aren't you afraid? And blah, blah. I'm like, how can you not? You know, I don't have that mentality, you know, like how can you not go? I have an opportunity to do this. I may never get this opportunity again. I don't care if I'm a girl or a guy, I'm going to go.
Yeah.
You know? So that's just that's me and how I think.
Awesome. That's so awesome.
Yeah. I'm a huge tomboy, and I was a tomboy growing up, and I think that's part of it too. So I don't have the, like, plus my parents took us someplace every summer. We went somewhere different, and we camped. You know, it wasn't like we were flying around. And that's helped too, because that gave me my wandering, you know, like I need to go somewhere. Now I need to go somewhere again, you know?
Yeah.
So if an opportunity comes up, more than likely, and I am able to do it, I'm going to go. So.
Awesome. Okay. So, all right. So let's move on to the next question.
Right.
Which is sort of moving us over into the realm of Chicago in amongst your travels and where you're based. And so, like, what is your favorite place to photograph in Chicago, and why?
That's a really hard question, because I've loved architecture for a really long time. I mean, I've been going in the city, you know, probably since I was in 3rd or 4th grade. So I was like 9 or 10, you know, and I was always intrigued by the buildings and the structures and the shapes and that sort of thing. So I have images on film that I shot of architecture. So I'm a big fan of Frank Lloyd Wright. So there's some of his stuff around. There's Louis Sullivan is another one who has a lot of buildings in Chicago or fronts. There's a lot has been damaged or destroyed now, but he has very detailed work, and it's beautiful. Then another Chicago architect is Daniel Burnham, and his stuff is more about like shapes. He was form and function, and he was more about the shapes. But with that comes, you know, shapes and shadow and light, and the way the light is in the city at certain times of day, and the way it hits different buildings. I feel like I've always been kind of aware of that, you know, when I've been down there. So there's not a favorite spot for me. You know, I love certain buildings, you know, and as there more buildings are being built, I'm like, oh, there's another one that goes on my list, you know, because now there's quite a few buildings that have glass exteriors, and some of them are a little bit colored, or but that lends to like so many things, reflections, which is another one of my like things that draws my eye a lot. But light and reflections in the glass buildings is awesome too. So I don't think I can really choose one spot. And just to be funny, I have friends who go downtown and shoot sunrises all the time. And Mark mentioned it a minute ago, and I'm like, you won't see me going down there very often to do that, you know, because it's beautiful, and I'll go and be there, but I don't have the need to shoot a sunrise over Lake Michigan. I'd rather shoot the buildings.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. But that's really cool though, because I mean, like that's what makes photography so like rich and unique, is that you can like everybody has their things that light them up and what doesn't, you know.
Right.
I mean, like I've gone through phases where it was like all about clouds, and people were looking at me like, "You're taking photos of clouds again?"
Right. Right.
So yeah, I love that. That's awesome. I don't know if I can inject another question that I didn't prepare you for ahead of time.
It's okay.
But I'm wondering, like how do you keep it fresh photographing Chicago? Just because, like, I mean, like I've lived in my town here for 20 years, and sometimes I find it hard to get enthusiastic to go out and shoot. Like I live in a small town. There's like lots of greenery and trees and all that. But because I've seen it all the time, I'm kind of like, yeah, I could go out. But, you know, like I don't know, how do you break through that?
Well, this kind of goes with Marilyn asked a question too about giving us an idea of what we can do to see things differently or maybe in a new way. and ask about an exercise that we could do maybe. And actually, that kind of goes hand in hand with your question. I see my backyard every single day, right? But I can still go out in my backyard and find new things to look at and see and take photos of. There's ways, there's, one of my, a pet peeve of mine is that people are like, there's nothing to shoot. There's always always something to shoot. I don't care if here's a pen, you can make it interesting somehow. Make the backlight, make it backlit, make it, shoot it macro, shoot it from this end, only this end. You have to push yourself to think differently and see things in a different way. And it doesn't, I'm lucky. And my husband made a comment. He posted something that he shared in mine. And he's like, it comes naturally to her. And it does. It comes naturally to me. I still work at it though. And I feel like that's kind of what I'm trying to do by helping others is you can learn how to do that. So if I go to the Bean in Chicago, the Bean's been shot 1 million times or more, So before I even take my camera out, I walk around for a good half hour or so and just look. I look at where the light is, what the people are doing, what the clouds are doing, if there's clouds. Sometimes there's birds that sit on top. Sometimes there's people laying underneath, or somebody has a really bright colored jacket or, it could be anything. And then I'll take my camera out and say, okay, this is something I haven't seen at the Bean before. I have a couple of shots where I've taken one. I took a leaf and put on a handrail and made the leaf in focus and blurred out the Bean. So it's still a shot of the Bean, but it's not the normal like, oh look, it's the Bean. The Bean is a challenge, and it's a really good place to push yourself to find something different. And it's the same with your backyard, right? Like the weather changes every day, every hour. Here lately, it's changing every 5 minutes. It's been crazy, but things are growing, things are dying, things are growing. It rains, things have water drops. So even though it's the same flower that was there yesterday it was cloudy. Today the sun is making it look a little bit different. Or it rained and there's raindrops on it, So even it can be something as simple as that. And Marilyn kind of asked for an exercise, and this is one that I do with, and I think that you might have done this with Ron, and I may have gotten this from him. But if you take take one object, and it could be anything, it could be my pair of glasses or whatever, and shoot it 10 different ways. It makes you stop and think about what you're doing and look at it in different ways, because you don't want to take the same shot, right? I have to take 10 different shots of this pen. How am I going to do that, right?
Yeah.
Well, so you can limit yourself by using one lens. You can limit yourself by standing in one spot and not moving and only shooting from that one spot and seeing what you can see from that one spot. There's all little kind of exercises that you could do, that kind of help you push yourself to look at things in a different way. So hopefully that answered your question, I think.
Very much so for me.
Okay.
And hopefully it did for Marilyn. Oh, Marilyn says that's super great advice. There's also always something to photograph to be more aware of what is around us. Yeah, it's definitely changing that thinking rather than I've seen it all before. It's
right.
For me.
What can I find that I haven't seen or that I didn't notice? We drive back and forth to work every day, or we walk the same route when we go for a walk. But how many times do you drive to your local, store? You don't pay attention, right? Yes. And then all of a sudden there's a building there that they're building, or, like you didn't notice it before because you weren't paying attention, Yeah. So a lot of it has to do with slowing down and being aware of what's around you.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So that kind of answered my next question, because my next question was going to be, how do you create an image that is different from what you've already seen? So we've kind of covered that. I think my next question was going to be like, what's your approach to teaching people to see differently when taking photos? I know you've kind of talked about it, but like, how do you help people with that?
Well, I have one of the programs I have is like a 6-week mentorship kind of a program, and every week there's a exercise that the people focus on. You know, a lot of that whole program has to do with slowing down. And there's no editing allowed.
Ooh.
Yes, which is my favorite.
Okay.
Because I'm very mean that way. Because that's the other, I think the other thing is that we all, you know, digital especially, right? Oh, I can fix that. I can crop that out. I can remove that. I can get rid of that person. You know, I learned on film. I know a lot of people learned on film too. You know, there's still some film people out there. I still shoot film once in a while. And it forces you to create the best image you can in the camera first.
Yes.
It saves you a whole lot of time later sitting in front of the computer editing. You know, again, it depends on what you do. If you create composites and use textures and all that, that's a whole different, you know, that's kind of a different story. I'm still a little bit of a purist with my images. I don't edit a ton. I play around sometimes, you know, but that means that I want to get the shot as best as I can the way I want it before I press the shutter. So there's exercise, like you could go out, pretend you have film in your camera, right? And shoot only 24 shots. You're going to stop before you press that shutter 24 times and think, is this really what I want to take a photo of? Is this really how I want it to look? Is it composed right? You know, is there something sticking in the side, you know, that's going to be in front of my subject? Or just those, to me, they're little things. They're probably not little things because some people aren't necessarily aware of that when they're out shooting. Digital made it easy for us to all go, oh, look, you know, and just take pictures. You know, so we're not, again, it's slowing down, especially when you get to a new place, you know, because you're like all excited. Oh, look at that, and this, you know.
Yeah.
But you don't take the time to experience it and see what's there, you know, and then be like, oh, that would be a really nice shot, you know.
Yeah.
So that's kind of, it's mostly through exercises and having discussions about, so somebody will send me and they'll do an exercise and then we'll go over their images. And I'll be like, so why, you know, if you were here, if you would have stepped one step to the right, do you see how this would have been different? Or, you know, this sort of thing. And it's usually just really little things that we're not conscious of, that we're not thinking about when we're actually shooting.
Yeah.
So
this is some of the stuff that you are going to be teaching on your upcoming workshop in Chicago, isn't that right? So tell us a bit more about that.
Well, it's 3 days, and I have routes planned to some of the most, you know, the major kind of tour spots. It's heavy on architecture, obviously, but there along the way you guys will also be given, you know, some of these exercises, right? So this morning, if it's in the morning, we'll be like, oh, you know, this is what I want you to look for, and then you'll be more aware of that just because it's in your head, right? And one of the things is finding faces, right? There's faces everywhere. And once you start seeing that in things, you can't stop seeing them, you know? But
you're talking about finding faces within the architecture itself?
In the architecture or on the sidewalk or on the lamppost, you know, there's there's a commercial over here. It used to be a commercial with the hooks on the back of the, like, they're kind of like hooks that look like octopus, kind of.
Okay.
And they're just little hooks that you usually find in the back of a bathroom door. The commercial was like, oh, see that? It looks like an octopus, right? But now people see it every time they see it. That's what they think.
Right. Yeah.
It's little things. I have a little tile in my bathroom in the shower that looks like a seahorse. It's little things like that. But what that exercise does is makes you look in a different way at what's around you. So, so as we go through our where we're going each day, there will be exercises kind of like that, a couple of other ones to help us slow down. You know, put the camera down for a few minutes. You know, think about what a kid would see in the same place that we were in, from a different frame of mind. So if you're 5, you don't see the same thing as if you're 30. You know, not only from a height level, you know, you see things from a 5-year-old's perspective, which sometimes you find a lot more fun things that way, because kids are also finding fun things. You know.
Yes. Yeah. that imagination and creativity kicks in.
Right. Right. Because we lose that. Unfortunately, we kind of lose that as we get older. If we allow ourselves to lose it.
Yeah.
You can bring it back. I think.
Yeah.
So that'll be kind of what we're doing, and how I'll be helping. You know, and I'll be asking you guys as we're walking. You know, what are you looking at? What are you seeing? You know, and then. You know, sharing what I'm also seeing, because I think that helps, you know, anytime you go out with other photographers shooting, it's awesome to watch what they're shooting, right? So you go out with people and you all shoot the same thing. You all come back with different versions of it. So just shooting in a group like that helps you sometimes think, oh, wow, I never would have thought of that.
Yeah.
You know, so that's another part of it, is being with other photographers, doing the same exercises, and shooting the same things, because, you know, they'll be shooting from their own perspectives.
Awesome.
So
yeah. And we're going to all like meet in the same places, and then, you know, you're going to help us move between all the different buildings.
So there's a meeting place every day, where we're starting and where we're ending, and then I have routes planned out. So, and you know, like wherever we're at, you know, we stop and eat and all that, and you know, it's kind of a relaxed thing. I've been on in places where, or on workshops, or in photo walks or whatever, where it's like go 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 go. I'm not taking any photos when it's like that. I don't feel relaxed. I'm not taking the time to look around and enjoy where I'm at. And I don't want to shoot like that. And I think that a lot of people probably feel that way, but they like to get their money's worth, you know, like, or the people putting the program on feel like they're not giving their attendees the money's worth if they're not like jam packing every single second.
Yeah. Yeah.
But to me, you know, if you're not feeling it, if you're tired from walking around all day, if it's hot or whatever, you're not going to get anything out of it anyway. You know, you're going to get a lot less out of it. You might still get something out of it, but you're going to get a lot less out of it, because you're just going to be, I mean, personally for me, I check out. I'm like, okay, I'm done, you know. So hopefully this will be a lot more relaxed, not crazy, you know, killing ourselves, walking 800 miles and then that sort of thing. Because that's part of it, right? When you're not feeling well, or if you're tired, or any of that kind of, you know, your physical being and your mental being also play into your shooting. You know, it's hard to force the creative and hard to force the like imagination and all that when you're not feeling well, or you're feeling like you've been run ragged, you know. So that's kind of my approach too, is a little bit more relaxed, a little bit more hopefully fun, and
quality over quantity.
Yes. Hopefully.
Definitely. I like that, because I like to go slow when I get to scenes and places and that kind of things. Like I've shot with other photographers, and they're like getting all the shots and going everywhere, and I'm kind of just hanging out and, you know, going slow. They're like, why aren't you shooting? I'm like, well, I am. I just do it in my own way.
Yeah. No, and that's what this is more about. This is, and you know, again, it's about me helping you guys learn to see differently, or notice things you wouldn't normally notice. And if we're in there like rapid fire, okay, we got 10 minutes to be here, and then we got to go on to the next spot. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. So that's my approach, and hopefully I can help you guys out along the way.
Awesome. So do you have any spots left?
I do. I have five spots.
Okay.
I'm trying to limit it to 8 people. I don't want to overload myself. And this is kind of the first time I'm doing this sort of thing. I've led photo walks. I was in charge of Drink and Click for like 3 or 4 years. Every month I would organize a group, but that was kind of a, again, it was me being how I am, and it's very relaxed, and let's go here and see what happens kind of a thing. This won't be quite that relaxed. But so I have experience, wandering around the city with a few people here and there. And I've been on my own share of photo walks around the city too. So I forgot what you asked me. Or what that was about. How many spots there were.
Yeah.
Somehow that went into that. Yeah, there's 8. There's 8 total I'm hoping for. I've had a couple people who are like, hoping to, but not sure, got a new job. I don't know if I get off, so we'll see. But no matter what, I mean, there's 3 right now, and that's fine with me, I mean, of course I would love to fill it because it's more fun with more people, but I'm happy that anybody signed up at all for this first time. So,
Yeah. So when's it all happening? Like, what are the dates?
September, look, I have to look because I don't know. September 6th through 8th. 6th through 8th, yeah. And actually, I have a bonus day on Thursday if anybody is interested. And I kind of threw it out there because I thought it might be fun. And I know there's a few people out there who enjoy shooting vehicles, cars. There's a very, very cool auto museum about an hour from where I live that has amazing, amazing, amazing cars to shoot. Yeah. And that's another thing that I love to go out and shoot is like car shows and stuff. So I just kind of made it an option. If, people want to do it, yay. And if not, it's not a big deal. Yeah. So that would be the amazing cars. Thursday. Are they like antique stuff? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ooh. This antiques, very old antiques. That made sense. I found out what the word was not what I was trying to think of. Antiques, there's celebrity cars there. This place actually has things from movies, like cars from movies. Tons of cars from movies. So it's an amazing place. Yeah. So, but again, it's an option that I threw on in case anybody was interested. So it gives me an excuse to go if somebody wants to go.
Yeah, no, it sounds awesome. Yeah. I don't know, I just have these visions because I learn about Chicago through the movies, so you like, don't judge me here, but it's like I'm thinking of the cars from like the 20s and the Al Capone.
Yeah, right. No, they have those. Yeah, there's those there too. Yeah.
So in my head, like I've got this whole image with like, people with guns hanging around. I mean, like they're not. But that's how I see it in my head. My head's got that so 5-year-old imagination going wild.
It's funny though, because a lot of people, when I traveled in Europe, you would say you're from Chicago. They would always say Al Capone. Like that would be like the big thing, Sorry, he's been gone for a long time, but but that's how people know Chicago. I mean, a lot of people know Chicago.
But it's not just that stuff. I mean, like there's all the modern stuff and like the trains you've got going on, which is like, I know, feels like this awesome part of the cityscape there. I don't know. It's like it's got this vibe and this mood. Like I feel like like different cities have these kind of different vibes. So that's what I'm kind of looking forward to. Yeah, and one of the days we'll head up a little bit north of downtown to Lincoln Park, which is a nice area, and there's a pond, and actually the zoo is up there. There's a cool structure up there that's architectural pavilion, and then the views from there are a little bit different of the city.
and you get some reflections in a pond that's there that's different too. But it's just another view of the city, you know. So we're not downtown in it all the time. So we can get different perspectives from that area too. So
awesome.
it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I hope a few more people join us. You know, it's like I said, it'll be relaxed. It won't be. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to scare people off. You know, and the other thing about it is that it's not going to be all about your settings and, you know, which lens you should use. And I mean, there'll be a little bit of that, you know, but I'm not into all the technical stuff, like I said before. So I know what I know that I need to do if I want to get a certain shot, but I am not going to teach that. You know, if people have questions, they can ask me. If I know, I'll help. If I don't, I'll find somebody else who can, you know. I know, you know, we all know a lot of photographers, so I can always find somebody who knows the answer if I don't, which is good. It's a good thing.
So where do people go to book into the workshop and stuff?
You can go, whoops, now I lost the link. You can go to my website, and I'm just going to grab the link again real quick because I had the link to, I'm just going to share the main C link, which also links to my mentorship programs. And I'll just share that in the comments. So I also have online mentoring. So I do one-on-one sessions, and I have a 6-week How Do You See program. And then you can also sign up for 12 sessions, which may or may not include the 6 weeks, depending on what you want to do. It's very much designed to help each specific person do whatever it is they want help with. Coming from me, help. So, you know, somebody who wants to learn their camera isn't going to sign up with me, you know. And I'm going to ask that question, and then I'll be like, sorry, it's not going to work. You know, I mean, I love to help everybody, but that's not my thing, you know. So I like the creative, touchy-feely side of photography.
Likewise.
So
I think, but there's plenty of information out there if you want to learn the camera settings and things like that. The creative side, like that's the harder stuff to get your head around and to learn. I think,
I agree.
It can be.
Right. No, I agree. I think there's a lot of stuff, you know, the technical stuff is always easy to find, but learning how to find, you know, one of the things people always say is, oh, I would like to find my niche. You know, what's my thing? Well, what do you shoot the most? Or what makes you feel the best when you're shooting it? You know, what like makes you happy? Do that, you know, right? So that, and then there's the art side of it too, which I think gets left behind, like color theory and composition, and those sorts of things are touched on a little bit when you're learning photography, but not as extensively as they could or should be, I think. So one of the things I'm trying to do, if you belong to a mentorship of mine, or now with the photo tour, I have a private community, which I'm just starting on, and it's just starting. So I'm going to try to do is post a monthly challenge, and base it on something that we learn from. So right now I'm doing color theory. You know, so we're just starting, right? So complementary colors is the first thing, and that's the easiest, you know, or, you know, prime, whatever it is, it's primary, whatever it was. I think it was complementary, but it might have been primary. Anyway, it's just an extra place to go to find information on that sort of thing. Hopefully that I can provide that sort of help. I had that sort of help with Google Plus and the mentorship program. You know, that's where that came from. You know, but there's, like you said, there's not that much of that out there for photographers.
So true.
Again, it's a work in progress for me. You know, the community is right now just me and 2 other people. And I haven't put it out there, you know, because eventually that may be a subscription based, you know, thing where people can join for not very much money and still have access to resources or ask questions and that sort of thing. So
yeah. So how do people find out more about that? Because that sounds really awesome.
Yes,
Too.
that's one of my ideas that's not fully formed yet. Actually, yeah. I mean, if you want to join just the community, I haven't set that up yet.
Okay.
Right. So the people that I'm mentoring now are in the community. Most of them, and then what I'll add the people from the tour, the Chicago trip as well. And then they'll, eventually I'll grow the group by that way, by people who are in my programs. But yes, I have plans to create, like a kind of like subscription levels, maybe, so if it's, whatever a year, you get this, you pay this, you get that sort of a thing. So, but that's not hashed out totally yet. So it's not out there. Eventually.
Well, you don't have to have things hashed out totally before you put them out there.
No, this is true. And I know that.
And you're interested, let Lauri know.
Yeah, that's actually very true. If you're interested, let me know. That's good. Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll add some people to be, beta testers or something to start.
Yeah.
For nothing.
So I've just had a quick look at the time and realized we've gone way longer.
Yeah, we're gone. Yeah.
I've just been really enjoying chatting with you.
It's been good. No, it's been awesome. I appreciate it. And it's doing things like this that help me also feel more confident in what I'm doing. And not to be, I think by myself saying that helps other people. Otherwise I wouldn't say it. Because I don't I'm not comfortable doing this sort of stuff, but I'm getting better at it. You got to keep doing it. And, and if you're going to have your own business and if you're trying to get your stuff out there and get yourself out there, you have to put yourself out there. So
that's the stuff that I help people with in my stuff. So,
right.
As well as my love of photography, but awesome.
Cool.
So,
so if anybody has any questions, I can be found on Facebook, or you can, email me at Lauri@laurinovak.com. LauriNovak.com is my website. I'm pretty much everywhere and not that hard to get a hold of. So if you have questions or whatever, or, you just want to say hi, I'm usually around.
And if you want to check out that workshop, that's is it www.laurinovak.com/C. So
CSEE.
Yes. Not SEA.
Right. Or C.
I'm really looking forward to that.
I'm so excited that you're coming. I'm so excited when I saw that. Very happy that happened.
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome.
All right.
Okay.
Are we good?
So, yes. Alrighty.
All right. You have a good day, and we'll talk to whoever else is out there, wherever you're at. Have a good day.
And bye, everyone. And thanks for joining us.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.